What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. In today's video, we're talking about possible DLC weapons for Call of Duty World War II. I know you don't want to hear this, but there are some very big, very popular weapons from previous Call of Duty games and from the actual World War II that didn't make their way into the game. Weapons that a lot of people were expecting to be in the full game after seeing the, let's call it, lacking weapon list from the beta. There weren't a whole lot of weapons, and even now, with so many weapons to choose from, hundreds upon thousands of different models and different weapons and different manufacturers of weapons, there's a very, very small amount of weapons in this game, or at least it seems that way to me. I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well, but when you're playing in Call of Duty World War II, it just doesn't seem like there's as much variety as you'd expect. So in today's gameplay, you're going to see some M1 savagery. Apparently, I'm a closet savage with the M1 Garand. I recorded another video. I was going to use a capture the flag, just like a shorter video for this, but I went completely off, like 35-1, called in all my streaks. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a different gameplay, and then I got this gameplay where I went 30-1 in a team deathmatch and called in all of my streaks, the paratroopers, the carpet bomb, the ball turret gunner, and the whole 9 yards. So I hope you enjoy the gameplay. I've got a list. I did a really quick little bit of research on like weapons in World War II, weapons that could have made their way into this game. I already had a few weapons in my own mind, but just like 5-10 minutes of research, and I found a whole list of weapons that should be in this game. And this is just scratching the surface. So many different guns from like Italy and Japan and just like really out there, like different countries had extremely different types of weapons that should be in this game. And we're going to talk about my main concern about these weapons not being in the game a little later in the video. But first off, the missing iconic weapons. The M1891, more colloquially known as the Mosin-Nagant sniper rifle. This one isn't in the game. This is one I was definitely expecting to make its way in from, well, not in the beta. It wasn't in the beta. There was only like 3 snipers in the beta. So I was like, oh, there's definitely going to be like 6 snipers in this game. Like, there's a bunch that they can choose from. Mosin-Nagant didn't make it. Neither did the Ptr S41, the anti-tank rifle. That was a huge favorite in Call of Duty World at War, as far as I know. I didn't play a whole lot of World at War online, so apparently this was the final sniper unlock, an absolute one-shot godly sniper rifle, so PTRS didn't make it. In terms of SMGs, the Owen gun. Brody, one of my mods from Australia, was talking to me the other day, and he's like, oh, I wish they had the Owen gun in here. I'd never even heard of this weapon before, but it's a completely unique, very different SMG manufactured in Australia and used by, like, oceanic forces and stuff, and even it found its way into, like, British militaries. It looks like a really cool, very different kind of SMG. Another SMG that I am absolutely rattled that's not in this game, the gun that I was looking forward to the most when I heard that we were going to have a World War II Call of Duty game, the Sten Gun. The Sten is like one of the most recognizable weapons from World War II ever, and it's not in this game. That's that British weapon, the British SMG with like the horizontal, it looks a lot like the Type 100, but the Type 100 is like the Japanese version. The Sten Gun is like super recognizable, like one of the most popular weapons in pop culture, like of all time, and it's not in this game. This is the #1 gun I wanted in the game, and it's not here. The M50 Rising or Rising is a US SMG as well. Very different from the other SMGs that we have in this game. Something of a crossover between the M1928 Thompson and like the MP40, but it's a US SMG. Apparently it was really popular, and I'd never heard of this one either, but it would be really cool if we had these weapons that not a lot of people have ever heard of, but were super popular in World War II. Like, we have pretty much the main bases. Like, they hit their bases with like M1 Garand, the MP40. Like, they hit what they needed to, but to have these really different weapons to kind of bring awareness to these weapons would have been really neat. Like a little historical lesson in playing multiplayer in Call of Duty World War II. The Ithaca 37 shotgun. This is like that super mainstream shotgun that doesn't have a stock on it that you would think was developed later, but that was actually used in World War II as well. And the shotguns are pretty lacking in this game. It's a pump action. It would have really had its place in Call of Duty World War II multiplayer. The MG34 is an LMG, apparently the most advanced LMG or weapon in general of its time in World War II. It's kind of like the MG-15, like the next model up. The MG-15 was an aircraft LMG that was supposed to be mounted on like a plane, whereas the MG-34 is kind of like the big brother that could be used by a single infantryman, and it was like a really, really popular LMG. It wasn't developed as much as it could be because it was really expensive, but apparently it was the most advanced weapon of its time, and it's not in the game. The M2 Carbine, this one I was kind of looking forward to an attachment for the M1A1. M2 Carbine is like the fully automatic version of the M1A1. It would be really cool if we just had a select fire attachment for the M1A1, but the M2 Carbine could have made an appearance as well. Now in terms of handguns, there are so many hundreds of thousands of handguns out there that could have been put in this game. Instead, we got stuck with 3, and the 3 that we have, of course, we have the 1911 and the P08, but the 3 that we have are kind of lackluster. Like, the handguns could have been so much more. They could have had 5, 6, 7 handguns in this game. A revolver of any kind. There are no revolvers in this game, and revolvers were super popular in World War II. A Colt, a Smith & Wesson, a Webley revolver. Like, there's so many of them. The Nambu, I've heard a lot of people saying that the P08, the variant that you can get for it, looks a lot like the Nambu, which is kind of like the P08 from Japan. Would have been really cool to have the Nambu Type 14 in here. Any kind of Walther pistol, the Walther PP, the police pistol, popularized by James Bond, that's a weapon that was around in World War II. The Walther P38, which was the replacement for the Luger P08. The Tokarev TT30, which was replaced by the Makarov, that's a Russian handgun, which apparently was in World at War as well. And then, of course, the Panzerfaust, which was basically the predecessor to the popularized RPG-7. The Panzerfaust was a German, it's like a tube that just shot off a rocket. To have another launcher in this game would be really cool as well. So those are just some weapons that I found very, very quickly in a couple minutes of research that could have been in this game, and here's why I'm concerned. Tomorrow, Call of Duty points will be added to Call of Duty World War II. It sucks, I know. But my thought is, maybe they're going to be adding more weapons, more popular weapons, into the supply drop system. Or hopefully they'll take the Infinite Warfare approach and they'll just give us those weapons and then add in variants to the supply drop system. Because I want to see some of these weapons in the game. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking around December is a good time for the first supply drop update. With Infinite Warfare, the first supply drop Quartermaster update was around the first week of December, and we're fast approaching that time already. So, Call of Duty points added tomorrow. It makes sense that they're going to follow up adding Call of Duty points with adding a whole bunch of supply drop items, new calling cards, probably new camouflages. There aren't any camouflages in supply drops currently, which is kind of interesting. So I'd probably be expecting them to add in Quartermaster camouflages, probably new variants, because there's not enough of those already. There's like 2 variants of every variant in the game. New outfits, there's going to be so much added to supply drops in this game over time. It's going to be ridiculous. I just really hope that these weapons that need to be added to the game are added in a way that we can all use them via Infinite Warfare's weapon system. But let me know what you think. What weapon were you looking forward to using in World War II that isn't in here? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Did you spot the Astro logo in today's video? If you did, and you comment first with the correct timestamp, that's worth 5 entries in my Astro A20 giveaway. Check out the link in the description, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.